Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here tonight to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel. Another full race live stream for you guys here today. Started this one a little bit late. Sorry for that. My sister's basketball game ran late. I did say the latest that we would stream would be 8 o'clock. That is what we are streaming at, here for tonight's race at the Dover International Raceway. The Monster Mile, first trip to Dover out of 2 on this NASCAR Thunder 04 season. Again, taking place for the 2003 schedule. We're doing the exact 2003 season for the Cup Series side of things. Coming into this race, we're coming off of a DNF at the Coke 600 with Terry Labonte. Only made it about 100 laps in the race. Bad handling car. The new analog stick on my controller. You guys know the issues there. For those of you that might have watched that, or the All-Star race, or even Richmond, we had problems too. Fortunately enough, we were able to get to the front and win Richmond. Actually led all 400 laps of that race. So a tale of two stories between that, what happened at both the All-Star race and the Coke 600 in Charlotte. Shane Pickney, XY Games, welcome to the stream. Thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. Jonathan Rogers as well. Diamond Jeff BZ Velo, welcome to the stream. Also, I saw you guys waiting before the start of tonight's race. We're about to get started, though. Without further ado, we're going to go through the opening key points of emphasis into tonight's race, as well as the starting lineup. Following that, we'll get this 400-lap, 400-mile race underway. The MBNA Armed Forces Family 400 at Dover will begin shortly.
Welcome to Delaware for the running of the MBNA Armed Forces Family 400 at Dover International Speedway. Now, Barney, this is one of the tougher tracks that we come to. Why is that?
This place has got high bank concrete corners.
R6, welcome to the stream as well.
You've got to always be thinking ahead in this race and planning your passes well. Otherwise, you may quickly find yourself in the wall.
Terry Labonte has been called the Iceman because of his cool demeanor under pressure. But maybe the nickname Iron Man is more appropriate.
You know, that's right. Labonte set a record for consecutive race starts with 655. That's over 20 years without missing a race.
Jeff Gordon will begin the race in the top 5 in points.
Gaining on the leader is tough when you are in the top 5 in points. It takes you having a good race and the leader having a bad one in order to gain anything substantial.
In 2002, it seemed that Harvick suffered through the sophomore slump that we always hear about.
With only one win and a 21st finish in the points, it was a down year. But you have to believe that Richard Childress' race team, especially one with Goodwrench on the hood, is going to find his championship form sooner or later.
We are going to get tonight's race underway shortly, but here is a quick look at tonight's starting lineup at Dover. And on the front row, Terry Labonte, yet another pole award on the season. And outside pole starting second, it'll be Tony Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kenny Wallace will make up row 2. In row number 3, it'll be Bobby Labonte and Ricky Rudd. In row number 4, we've got Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, couple of Hendrick Chevrolets, each with 1 win on the year, will be starting in row number 5. In row 6, it'll be Ryan Newman and Sterling Marlin. In row number 6, on the inside, Jeff Burton. On the outside, Jeremy Mayfield for Burton. He has had a strong run as of late, off and on. We're going to see what he'll have to do to find his way to the front, if so, here tonight. Elliott Sadler and Kurt Busch will be in row number 8. In row number 9, it'll be Ward Burton and Matt Kenseth. Kenseth, the one-time winner of the season, winning at Darlington on the 5th race of the year. In row number 10, it'll be Kevin Harvick and Mike Skinner. Harvick still searching for his first win of the year. In row number 11, it'll be Ricky Craven, our Daytona 500 winner, and Dale Jarrett to his outside. Robbie Gordon, Christian Fittipaldi will be in row 12. In row number 13, It'll be Joe Nemechek and Jamie McMurray. McMurray's had some good runs over the last few races as well. Greg Biffle, another rookie on the inside. And row 14, Mark Martin outside of him, his teammate. In row number 15, it'll be Ken Schrader and Jeff Green. Row 16, Jerry Nadeau and Jack Sprague. Kevin LePage, Steve Park will be back in row 17. Brett Bodine, Casey Mears back in row 18. A lot of rookies rounding out the field further back in row 19. We've got another pair of them, both running part-time on the year of Ashton Lewis and David Green. In row number 20, we got a couple drivers who might be able to march their way into the top 10 by the end of the night. We'll have to see. Johnny Benson and Michael Waltrip. Waltrip, one win already on the year. Second race is where that happened, and it was at Rockingham. In row 21, it'll be Kyle Petty and Hermie Sadler. And rounding out the field, another rookie, Stanton Barrett, will be starting in row 22 all by himself from the 43rd and last place position. So here we go. Getting set for action tonight at Dover. Buckle up. This could be a long one. Green flag in the air. We're underway. Terry Labonte, Tony Stewart will lead the field into turn 1. Labonte had a great launch on the inside, trying to get ahead early. Something he was not able to do was lead a lap in the Coke 600. And he's going to lead lap 1 here at Dover. Dale Jr. right behind him in second place. Jr. got an initial great start to get around Stewart. Bobby Labonte from 5th to 3rd in less than a lap and a half. Labonte now going for 2nd underneath Earnhardt. Wow, Labonte got really loose getting off into turn 3. Car wasn't that loose in practice. We'll have to see. He was 2nd in practice. In happy hour, he tried to run a different setup than what he ran in practice. He was making adjustments there, and then ended up going back to the setup he had by the end of the first practice session. And Bobby Labonte trying to go for the lead after his older brother, Terry. Jeff Gordon climbing his way on up through the field as well. In the top 5 to 5th, Stewart fading back to 4th. On lap 4 after qualifying 2nd. We are running Dover here tonight indeed. The like goal 25. Let's make it 30. I think we can get 30 likes on the stream by the end of the night. Especially with the good start already out to 13. We'll set the goal for 30. Our record is 33. Labonte has been really good on the shorter racetracks, and I wonder with Dover being a 1-mile track if that will play into his favor here tonight. Going to Pocono tomorrow night, that's going to be a huge task for Terry. He has not been that great on the bigger racetracks outside of Talladega, but that is a super speedway. That's a different track of itself. Looks like Dale Jr. has gotten right back to 2nd place again. Sorry, no, Jeff Gordon has gotten to 2nd place. That is the DuPont 24 car. Charging through the field, trying to run down his teammate, Terry Labonte. And then he's got the 2 Joe Gibbs Racing cars right behind him of Tony Stewart and then Bobby Labonte. Labonte's just got to be really patient on corner entry. Almost got the wall off of turn 2. He really started to drift up that racetrack. Jeff Gordon is all over the back of him. Logano did not race at this time period. I think Logano would have been, I don't even know if he would have been 10 years old at this time, to be completely honest. What is he, 30 now? I guess he would have been about 13. Stewart back to 2nd place, right where he qualified, getting around Gordon. Labonte overran the corner a slight bit. Stewart looks low for the lead down the front straightaway and into turn 1. Now Stewart goes to the outside. Gordon stuck on the top. Dale Jr. going to try to get back to his inside. Labonte, the most winningest driver so far this season. His first DNF in 7 races happened at the Coke 600. And he didn't lose that many points. He only lost about 50 points. It could have been a lot worse for finishing in last place like he did. Still finds himself in the top 10, and we're a third of the way through the season. I think that is, if you guys remember correctly, what I had mentioned. We get through that first 12-race stretch, the first third of the year, we're really going to see who the top 10 to 15 championship contenders will be. And that is pretty much taking place, and everybody in the top 5 right now are all in the top 10 in points. Yep, Kevin Harvick is in this game. Pilot in the 29 car for Richard Childress Racing. Only in his 3rd full-time season. Clean air going to be a factor, I'm sure, all night long. Still got quite a ways before lap traffic starts to come into play. Can't remember exactly what the pit window is here at Dover from what it was in Season 1. I want to say it's anywhere between 60 to 75 laps. I want to say it's probably closer to that 75-80 lap range, actually. Definitely have to monitor that. Highly doubt they're going to be able to make it on 3 pit stops today. It's all 43 cars still in the lead lap early on and still on the racetrack. Ward Burton into the top 5 now. 22 car looks really, really fast for Bill Davis Racing. Kind of a train game going on right now. Especially within the top 5. Tell you what, the races Terry Labonte has been running up front and leading a lot of laps, winning the race over the last really 7 or 8 races since he started winning at Bristol on the 6th race of the year. He got into that hot streak, winning 5 out of 6 races and 4 in a row up until what we ended up seeing at Charlotte for the Coke 600. But this is that same Terry Labonte we saw in that 6-race stretch, at least early in tonight's race. Still a long ways to go. It'll be interesting to see how he'll be able to pass cars. So he hasn't had to do that yet. Didn't get an opportunity to pass anybody in practice as well. So that will definitely be a new challenge, a new dilemma. Really clean race going on for Terry Labonte right now as well. Clean race, clean car. Let's see what's going to happen. We didn't see our first caution of the day until Labonte crashed out in a huge wreck going off into turn 1. Again, about 100 laps into that Coke 600. Field's really starting to space apart a lot better now. It seems like the top 10 from second all the way back through about 9th or 10th, still in that single file line, not too far apart. Maybe a couple car lengths in between everybody at the most. And that's about it. Not going to see things get too spaced apart here at Dover. Luckily enough, this is one of the easier tracks, in my opinion, to drive in this game. Again, the higher banked racetracks tend to be, though we didn't have the best handling car at Charlotte, which I thought was one of the easier tracks to drive. It was more narrow than this track as well. Now it widens out the corners, gets very narrow on the corner exits and then going down the straightaways. That's why we have seen huge crashes here at Dover in the past. You guys running 2-3 wide, they think they can make the exit of the corner congested together because of how wide it is in the center of the turns. And it just narrows up so quick. This track is really fast for only being 1 mile in length. Already seeing lap times right around that 22-second flat lap barrier. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. Bonnie's making sure he's lifting any extra that he has to just to keep this car clean and keep it off the wall as much as possible. It is Dover here tonight, Tim. This is the 4th consecutive race that Labonte has gone into without a rival. I was quite surprised because of how bad his car was handling at Lowe's Motor Speedway. That could have translated into some rivals, especially with that big accident happening, even though Labonte didn't intentionally hit anybody the entire night. That's just the way this game goes for those of you that have watched the playthrough or even anybody else play this game, because that is the common factor. It doesn't matter how you make contact with somebody, they get upset, even if they made that initial contact with you. Boy, Greg Biffle's really moved backwards. He qualified inside the top 30. He's running in 42nd, barely ahead of the last place car of Kevin LePage. LePage trying to get around him in turns 3 and 4. They're side by side with Labonte closing in pretty immensely on him. Terry's only got an 0.8 of a second lead on Dale Jr. Wow, Labonte got really tight in line behind Biffle. And they're both holding Labonte up. Junior's starting to close that gap more and more. Labonte finally gets underneath Greg Biffle off of turn 4. Going to stay low into turn 1. Slides it into turns 1 and 2 to get around Kevin LePage. Oh, had to lift on corner exit. Labonte barely kept it off the wall. LePage going to cross him over. Most quarters racing as they go off into turn 3. He gets that run on the high side. I'm surprised he stuck the corner as well as he did. Just knowing, again, still trying to get used to this new controller I'm working with right now, and this is an uneasy feeling, especially on the outside in turns 3 and 4 at Dover. A line that Labonte has now ran all weekend long. Vettopaldi all the way on the outside. Now cuts it back down in the center. I'm not sure what he was doing all the way up there. I don't know if he just completely overdrove the corner or what the case was. And right there, he kind of did the same thing. The car just jumped tight. He entered in way too low on the inside line. These guys are over halfway on fuel already. I'm quite surprised at how quick these fuel runs are going to be here tonight. I would have expected to go a little bit longer, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it much longer than what they would on a cookie cutter 1.5 mile racetrack, which is surprising. Again, this is a half mile shorter in length. This is definitely one of the racetracks that could probably use lights indeed, Tim. It'd be pretty cool to see a Dover night race. I feel like it would just light up really well, especially with the concrete surface. Kind of like Bristol. The white under the lights would just glow a lot better. Get the cars on the track at the same time, too. A lot of tracks look better at night, though, to be completely honest. At least at the racetracks I've been to. Although I haven't seen that many night races. Chicagoland back in 2019 finished in the nighttime, or at least under the lights, but that was because there was a 4-hour rain delay in between the start of the race after they got about the first 10 laps in before the rain came, and then the time they went back racing again. That's why it ended as late as it did. But the only actual night races I've seen that were scheduled night races, wow, Labonte got really loose there. It's all over the place down the back straightaway and was still trying to catch the car into turn 3, but keeps driving it, and he still has led every lap up to this point at lap 40, despite not having anywhere more than a second and a half lead this whole race. Now that right front tire is starting to wear up a little bit more. But anyway, to go back on the night races I've been to in person, Darlington last year, Bristol for the All-Star race, and Kentucky were the only scheduled night races I've ever been to. And I don't know if they're going back to Kentucky again, so I'm kind of glad I was able to go there. Especially same with the Chicagoland race as well. Oh, Ashton Lewis just bounced off the wall off of turn 2 after just going a lap down. I didn't think he was going to really have a chance to cross Labonte back over anyway, but that definitely didn't help. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Yeah, surprisingly enough, at least in the career mode, they had a night race at Dover. I'm not sure if it's going to be like that on the season mode or not. I guess we'll just have to wait and see when we get to Dover. Kind of hoping for it. That'd be pretty cool. Oh boy. As heavy as the lap traffic's been right around Labonte so far. Drives it underneath of Kenny Wallace. Kept it off of him. Nice clean pass. Working on the next Kenny. That's Ken Schrader blocking Labonte to the inside of the track. A little contact going off into turn 1. Schrader is not making Labonte's life easy right now. They almost made contact again going into 3 as Schrader crowds him, trying to hold on to his lead lap positioning. Labonte finally gets around him. And Schrader just peeks back to the inside going into turn 1. Labonte beats him back. Schrader again taking a peek to the inside. He's holding Labonte up a little more. Now the lead is cut down to 1.1 seconds back to Junior, but there are 3 lap cars in between first and second place on the racetrack. Next 4 races on this Winston Cup Series schedule go like this, and they will all be consecutive nights as well, as we'll be running at Pocono tomorrow night. Saturday night we'll be running at Michigan. Sunday afternoon we'll be running at Infineon Raceway, now known as Sonoma, for our first road course race of the year. And then on Monday evening we'll be running at Daytona under the lights for the Pepsi 400. Our second race at that track. That'll be the first racetrack we will go to for a second time this season. So we'll be slowly starting to see some tracks being thrown in there for their second dates from that point on. Very few tracks we have to go to left on the schedule. I think only 5 more that we have to race at once on the year. Actually 6, I guess, if you consider Homestead as well, to end the year. Already to lap 50 now. Laps are flying by with the quick race pace. No caution so far. And we're getting closer and closer to the end of the fuel run. Maybe about a quarter of a tank left. We'll be seeing our first pit stops of the afternoon. Well, nighttime where we're streaming it right now. Afternoon as far as it being a day race on the game. And Labonte's got his biggest lead of the day, which isn't a big lead at all, only 2 seconds over Dale Jr. Jr. comes in with the points lead over Matt Kenseth by a narrow margin as well. None of the drivers in the top 10 of the point standings finished in the top 10 at Lowe's Motor Speedway for the Coke 600. So even though Terry Labonte DNF not leading any laps on Sunday afternoon, luckily enough for him, again, he only lost about 50 points, 55 to be exact. Definitely could have been a lot worse. He's just over one race worth of points behind now. Bonnie's really starting to pick up the pace now. Either that or Junior's struggling with the lap traffic a little bit more, which also could be the case. But I think it's a little bit of a mixture of both. Bonnie wasn't really pulling away in the long run until just now in the final roughly 10 laps of the run. He's widened the gap out about 2+ seconds now, just in the last 5 to 10 laps alone. Another line of about 4 lap cars in front of Labonte next. Again, setting a blistering pace early on. 15 likes so far here tonight. Thanks for everybody hitting that like button. Wow, that was a big slide going into 3. We've seen some smoke a couple times rolling out of the right side tires. Now the left front is starting to get a little bit worn as well. At least the tires aren't in the red up to this point, which it's going to be hard to do here tonight, knowing that the fuel run isn't as long as I had initially expected it to be. Again, I'm quite surprised these guys are only going to be able to go just over 60 laps on fuel. Another big slide into turn 3. That's the second lap in a row as he puts Casey Mears a lap down. Now working on the 30 of Steve Park for Richard Childress Racing. Labonte looking to the outside. Park trying to block. Labonte crosses over to the inside off of turn 2. And he should get him going into 3. Carrying a lot more speed down the back straightaway. Haven't seen anybody try to short pit up to this point. It's going to be really close on whether or not it'll be a 4 or a 5 pit stop race tonight. Just have to really wait to see as far as how many cautions we'll end up getting over the long haul as well. We have been on a consistent pace over the last 3 points races, and really the last 4 races if you want to include the All-Star race. As far as cautions go, we went caution-free at California Speedway 2 weeks ago, and then we went with only 1 caution at Richmond last week on Saturday. Or no, that was middle of the week last week. But anyway, at Richmond, the second to last points race, only had 1 caution that entire race. No cautions in the All-Star race. Granted, that was only 90 laps, but still. And then only 1 caution in the Coke 600. Haven't even really seen that many AI incidents as well in that stretch of races. Actually saw quite a few of potential trouble for the AI at California, but we never got a caution for anybody bouncing off the wall or getting loose like we had seen throughout the course of that race. Jeremy Mayfield going to go lap down. Lap 63, Labonte really loose. Doesn't have to go too much further on these tires, though. Still waiting to see who that first driver is going to be to come to pit road, or at least the first group if we get multiple drivers coming at the same time. A little contact between a couple of the lap cars up there. Biffle might have gotten in the way. He's already a lap down, running in the last place position. And actually, I think it was Kevin LePage he made the contact with. So both the drivers battling for 42nd, making contact a half a lap ago. Bonnie hard on the brakes there. He was definitely trying to keep from cutting right up on top of the 01 of Jerry Nadeau. Kevin LePage now blocking all of a sudden. Not sure why. Bonnie just gets to his outside. Oh, in the wall. Luckily, it wasn't a hard hit. Lap 66, and Labonte will be pitting from the lead this time by. Nobody else has hit pit road up to this point. Labonte might be the first, and the fact he's pitting from the lead, this could be interesting if we get a caution. Labonte might not be able to make it another lap on fuel, and he's trying not to slide the tires too much. This is a very tough pit road to get onto. Labonte probably made that a little harder than it had to be, but again, it is no easy way to get to pit road here. So Labonte surrenders the lead for the first time tonight. Dale Jr. will get 5 bonus points for leading his first lap. Yeah, I'm thinking it could be a 5 pit stop race tonight too, Michael. So Labonte came to pit road first, and a lot of other drivers followed that lap as well as this current lap as Labonte has gotten up to speed. Really just praying that we don't get a caution. It's the dangers of short pitting, although it wasn't intentional by Labonte. He just seemed to blow through a little bit more fuel than some of these other guys. I have to watch these guys coming off of pit road as well. That's how we saw Michael Waltrip bring out that lone caution at Richmond late in the race, was coming off of pit road and trying to block Terry Labonte going into 3 randomly, and he turned himself. Labonte back underneath Stanton Barrett. Barrett crowding him. Not a lot of room for Labonte. They made a little contact. Labonte had about a 4 to 4.5 second lead when he came to pit road. I'd have to assume he's going to have a little bit bigger of a lead by the time everybody cycles through, knowing that he was the first car to pit. So far, only the top 3 drivers have to pit yet. Maybe a couple other drivers that are already a lap down have to pit too. Not entirely sure there. Jeff Burton just came to pit road. Labonte finally gets back underneath Stanton Barrett again. And he'll pass him cleanly through turns 1 and 2. So Jeff Burton, I believe, just led that last lap. I believe he was also the last driver to pit. He is on pit road now. That will give Labonte the lead for an official lead change when we get to lap 74, which will be this time by now. And it will be roughly a 7-second lead over a new second-place driver, Tony Stewart, who cycled ahead of Dale Jr. during the green flag pit stops. So everything is cycled through pretty quickly here. Everybody making their stops within that 7-lap stretch. The last of the drivers coming out of the pits right now. And a 7-second lead for Labonte. Being the first one to pit road definitely helped him stretch that lead from 4.5 seconds to 7 seconds. Only a couple lap pressure tires for Stewart. Not really going to help him much as far as trying to run Labonte back down. But if Stewart's got a good short run car, Labonte tends to struggle with the lap traffic. That is where Stewart can definitely start to pick up more and more time. Almost a quarter of the way through the race. As we get to that lap 100 marker, which is coming up very shortly. Middle of this tire stint if we don't get a caution. Here's our Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Craven. Barely holding on to the lead lap for now. He's had some good runs in the first third of the year. Handful of top 10 runs. He had napped out of a couple of those where he could have had even more, but he's in the top 15 in points, having a solid season. As mentioned already, that one win on the year as well. Bonnie's starting to overrun the corners a little bit more on this run. Looks like the car is turning a little bit too freely compared to what it was on that first stretch. Won your second hot seat offer. Nice. Oh, for heat 2. Jeff Green got a little loose off of turn 4. Craven trying to get around him. Now Craven kind of slid the tires into turn 1 on the other end of the track. Labonte's sitting right behind him. Terry's going to be patient. He's got that 7-second lead. Doesn't have to get around these two right now. Especially both of them kind of, not going to say completely out of control, but they definitely don't look as stable. Oh, man, they both slid going into turn 1. But look at how far back Jeff Gordon has fallen. Gordon, who was in second place at the very beginning of the race, qualified in the top 8, is stuck behind a couple lap cars going side by side right in front of him. Not only that, I mean, Gordon has just lost a ton of ground. I'm quite surprised that that's the case. Kenny Walsh almost slid into the wall off of turn 4, and Craven might try to go 3 wide underneath him. But Jeff Green shuts the door before Craven's able to do it. Bonnie just hanging the inside. She gets underneath of Kenny Wallace now. Bonnie gets around him. Down to the inside of Craven. Boy, drove it off hard into the corner. Just got it to stick. Clearing Craven off of turn 2. Now his teammate Joe Nemechek's about to go a lap down. Jeff Green just got around him. Labonte following Green, trying to draft him down the front stretch now. Not going to get a lot of draft on a 1 mile. Well, it's an intermediate, but it races like a short track. How quick the lap times are. Lap time wise, it's not that much slower than Martinsville. Only about 3 to 4 seconds slower of a lap. Gen 4 cars are hauling around this racetrack tonight. And again, shout out to Ward Burton running 5th right now. He's had a couple good runs this year, but I think this might be his best up to this point. Haven't really seen him in the top 5 much this year, so to see him in the top 5 for the majority of this race early on, it's pretty impressive. Not one of the more powerhouse race teams. Burton does have a handful of wins in his career. A couple Crown Jewel wins as well. He's won Darlington a couple times, once for the Southern 500, of course, that Daytona 500 victory in 2002. Bonnie just to the inside of Green. Oh, a little contact. Surprised Labonte didn't get hooked. Usually you see the contact right on the right side door where the number's at. Even the right rear corner panel, it's so easy to get hooked on another driver. With these cars in this game in particular. But luckily, Labonte was able to get off of Green's car as soon as he could. So outside of the green flag pit stops, Labonte's led every lap. That doesn't have to do with strategy. He's led every lap at least. Definitely looking for a good bounce back performance today. Closing in on Hermie Sadler. And Sadler's going to go a lap down. Second lap down, if I'm not mistaken. That's one thing that'll be kind of cool. I've never actually played NASCAR '09, but I do know they have a leaderboard, like a live leaderboard, kind of like you would see on TV, so that's pretty cool. Realistic broadcast with the full race live streams, that'll really come in handy. Especially during the long green flag runs and being able to tell where exactly everybody's running.
Someone inside. Still beside you. Clear all around.
Ken Schrader's been putting up a fight. That's the second time Labonte has caught him, so that is the second time. We'll go a lap down. Labonte kind of crowded him a little bit there. Now it gets a little loose. Both cars really did get loose into turn one, and Schrader passes him right back. Labonte again to the inside, just kept it off of the 49 car. Schrader almost got in the wall himself off of turn four. Just keeps it off the wall. Tony Stewart's closing in slightly. He's about 6 seconds off the lead now. He was about 7.3 back when he came out of the pits. He just hit the wall again there off of turn two that last lap as well. So yeah, down to 6.1. Junior 7.2 back. Junior was 8.5 seconds off the lead when he came out of the pits in third. Junior was one of the last drivers to hit pit road as well. That's probably why Stewart was able to cycle on by him. Tony probably pitted a few laps before him. It's been about 40 to 50 laps since that top five has really changed, though, as far as having a new driver in the top five that isn't one of the five right now. And of the top four, they've pretty much all been in the top five this entire race. The only oddball is... Oh, man, Kenseth almost got in the wall off of four. Those rear tires really did not bite up well. You can see the rear of the car slide out. I thought he was going to catch the outside wall with the right rear and then maybe smack it back with the right front. Did a great job keeping it off the wall, but now he's going to have to hold on for dear life as Terry Labonte tries to put him a lap down. Jeff Gordon going to come up in the picture pretty soon here as well. Bonnie overdrove the corner by quite a bit there. I think this track's wide in the corners. Oh, 08 and 09 have it. Nice. I did not know 08 had it. I have not played NASCAR 08 or NASCAR 09, ever. I've seen very little gameplay of both. I've seen more gameplay of 09, not so much on 08 though. So I really don't know what to expect there. Like at all. Kind of want to keep it that way though, that'd be kind of fun. I did play 06, but I don't think I really had the game for that long. He overcorrected it off of turn two. A little contact there with the outside wall again. It happens, though, on this short of a racetrack. Even Jimmy Johnson's fading back now as well. Starting to fall where Jeff Gordon is. Gordon about to go a lap down. Labonte just gets to the inside off of turn two. Labonte got tight. Contact with Gordon into turn three. You hate to see teammates get together like that. Oh, they're not done. Rick Hendrick probably holding his breath atop the pit boxes. Especially with one of his drivers in the race lead and another one of them also in the championship hunt here early in the season. Stewart now under 6 seconds off the lead after that contact that Labonte made with Jeff Gordon. Yeah, they haven't released any details on when the next NASCAR game is going to come out. I don't see it coming out any earlier than the first week of July like it did last year. And I don't see it coming out later than September. Because remember, although it's not going to be necessarily NASCAR Heat, it's still the same developers at 704 Games. And all Heat Evolution through NASCAR Heat 4 all released in September, usually the last weekend of the regular season. So I guess it might be August if the trend continues there. But last year was the only year that they didn't do that. They released it like 2 months early, which they probably shouldn't have in hindsight because the game was really, really buggy. But we'll see how next year's game will be. Maybe they'll take that little extra time, giving themselves an extra 2 months, maybe 4 months compared to what last year's game would have been if they released it at their normal scheduled date that they were releasing it there for those first 4 years of the game. Waltrip in the mix up here as well. I think he's still on the lead lap. I mentioned he might have a top 10 car here tonight. No, actually, I think that's Mark Martin. Okay. I was about to say Jeff Burton, but it was Mark Martin. Johnson caught behind Ashton Lewis. Terry Labonte trying to get underneath his other teammate. Outside of the race leader. Johnson's the only other Hendrick Chevrolet that's on the lead lap. That might not last long. Bonnie's really trying to back these corners up. So he can get to Johnson on corner exit, but Labonte overdrives it just a little bit that time in the center of the last corner. Now he overdrove it on corner entrance that time. Still stays in the gas. He's all over the back of Johnson. We're back in season 1 when we were racing as Greg Biffle. Johnson was like our biggest rival throughout the course of the season. So he's been an ally all year with teammates racing right there. Johnson gets into the wall now after contact. Terry Labonte on corner entrance into turn 3. That could have been a lot worse than what it was. Haiti, welcome to the stream, by the way. Grand Prix of Dover.
Number 16 is outside.
Tony Stewart now 5.4 seconds off the lead. Mark Martin going to try to stay on the lead lap, I'd have to assume. His car's just getting really loose these last couple laps. Tires are starting to get a little older. Now, he pitted at lap 66, so if you do the math correctly, next pit stop for Terry Labonte should be at lap 132. That will be less than 20 laps from now. We'll see our second pit stop of the night.
Number 6 is outside. The 6 car is still there.
And Mark Martin going to go a lap down. Oh, a little contact though with Vittipaldi, the race leader. And Martin might get back around as Terry tried to side draft him on that right rear corner panel. That didn't last long. Oh, contact again. 3 wide off of turn 4. Contact! Martin bounces into the 43 of Vittipaldi. And Labonte sneaks right on by both of them off of turn 4. Johnson trying to get around Martin for position. Mayfield pinches Labonte off again, meanwhile, into turn 3. A lot of action going on in the racetrack. 1 green flag run to start tonight's race. No cautions up to this point. Over 100 laps in, 1 pit stop in. And a quarter of a tank left of fuel for at least the leader, Labonte, who was the first driver to come to pit road last time. Might be the first to come to the pits this time as well. Cap 24, welcome to the stream. Here's blocking. I don't know how he stuck the corner as well as it did. Bonnie definitely backed the corner up a little bit better. Well, Bonnie knew he was going to enter in at a low apex, so he knew he had to back it up. He was underneath Casey Mears, and Mears just chopped him off right in the center of the corner. And now blocks him down the backstretch. Slap cars are getting really desperate here. It's only the second run of the race. Good crossover by Labonte. Slower lap car of David Green going to get in the way of Casey Mears as well. Yeah, Labonte, the fact that he had a 4.5 second lead before he came onto pit road the first time, came out of the pits with a 7 second lead, just over a 7 second lead. He has lost 2 seconds to Tony Stewart on this run. And Stewart wasn't even the second place car in the last run. He was in third, so you wonder if Junior could have been holding him up, because he's been pulling away slightly from Junior even this run. Adjustments as well could have been made by Stewart. Labonte didn't make any adjustments the last stop. Just like the first run, you're really seeing a lot of smoke coming out of the front tires on these corner entries with how loose Labonte's been getting later and later in the run. But instead of a fast loose like the last time, it's almost a little too loose, and it's bogging him down a little bit. Oh, loose moment? I don't know how Labonte kept it off the wall. Barrett's going to get around him, and that's the least of his worries right now. That was a great save by Terry Labonte. Car drastically just walked right up the racetrack. Tony Stewart now less than 5 seconds off the lead. I don't think Labonte's going to make any adjustments under this stop again. We'll wait and see. Try to put Rusty Wallace a lap down. And he does. Nice clean pass in turns 3 and 4. Boy, you're wasting no time to get around Rusty. Labonte kind of had a hard time coming to pit road that first stop of the race. He actually got to pit road twice in practice pretty easily, but you saw him struggle on that first pit stop of the day. Don't be surprised if that's just a common factor if we continue to have green flag pit stops the rest of the night. Oh! Benson bounced it off the wall really hard off it too, then Labonte kind of followed him. Followed him out of the rear view though, because he was in front of him when he did get in the wall himself. Slicing and dicing around Ryan Newman. Elliott Sadler going to go second lap down, says Jack Sprague. Just a couple more laps for Labonte to run, then he'll hit pit road. Get right around Michael Waltrip before they even get into turn 1. Now going to work on Dale Jarrett. I think Waltrip might have made contact with Kenny Wallace off of turn 4. Turn 2, rather. Labonte going to put Dale Jarrett a lap down. Stewart 6.5 seconds off the lead. Still a net gain for about 0.8 of a second. Stewart on Labonte. Labonte's going to stay out 1 lap longer this time. Made it 66 laps on the first run. It'll be 67 laps on this run. Park almost bounced it off the wall going a second lap down there. Oh boy, Robbie Gordon crowding a little bit on the race leader. He's already a lap down, almost hit the wall himself off of turn 2. And Terry Labonte going to hit pit road. It'll be a 4-tire stop, no adjustments again. Slides the tires onto pit road a little bit better that time, a lot quicker getting to the braking zone as well for Labonte. Adjust the camera here for a second. Not that much. There we go. Hopefully I didn't adjust it too much. Little bit of problems there with the rear tire changer. On the left rear tire. Had a little bit of problems trying to get it onto the race car. Labonte almost slid up into Harvick trying to get up to speed. Just barely kept it below him. So again, Labonte, the first car on the pit road. Came in with less of a lead. Made a mistake on pit road. Not Labonte himself, but his crew made a mistake on pit road. So we're going to have to see how costly that's going to be for Terry on the actual racetrack itself. I think Harvick's on older tires. Labonte tries to get around him. Ward Burton is the leader. Does he have to hit pit road? He might be coming down into the pits this time. Nope, not quite. Not going to pit this time. Labonte trying to get around him as soon as he can, just in case there's a caution. Doesn't want to be trapped a lap down. Now he'll clear him off of turn 4. So Labonte's back on the lead lap. Waiting for the rest of the lead lap cars to pit. I'm getting ahead of myself on the mic tonight. I don't know what it is. The words are just not forming correctly. McMurray coming off the pit lane. Oh, little contact with Joe Nemechek, who was trying to get to pit road as McMurray was coming out of the pits. That was a dangerous situation. I thought that was just going to hook McMurray there for a second. Some of these guys have gone a lot longer on fuel than what they did that opening run. I mean, you saw even Labonte went 1 lap longer, and he still was the first driver to hit pit road. Still 4 more cars have to pit ahead of him. The driver's just trying to get as many laps led as possible, maybe trying to just lead a lap just to get 5 bonus points. I don't think anybody's going to catch Labonte as far as laps led go tonight, especially if Terry continues to have this dominant of a performance as he's had in the first half of the race so far. Looks like Stewart should cycle into second place off of the pit lane. He's ahead of Junior right now, who went in above him as well. He works his way cleanly around Jamie McMurray, not wasting any time in turns 1 and 2. Well, Ken Schrader's been a tough out tonight, so I don't expect this to be an easy pass for Terry Labonte. Kevin Harvick, Sterling Marlin were the last two drivers on the racetrack. The race leader is just coming into the pits now, who I believe is still Kevin Harvick. So Kevin was able to get one lap led at least there. There's Marlin out of the pits going a lap down. Labonte just slides in front of Ken Schrader in the center of the corner. So it'll be a lead change this time by at lap 147. Labonte will be back in the lead for the third different time here tonight. So third different time that Terry Labonte has led laps early on. 10-second lead on Tony Stewart. Short pitting has been working out for Labonte up to this point. Not really short pitting. Again, he's only pitting about a lap or two prior than Stewart and Junior. Hopefully that's not going to come back to bite him at the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. Again, once we get closer and closer to the end, we're really going to be able to see how the fuel window will be stretched to the end of the race. Right now, 66 laps on the first run for Labonte. The race leader, Terry Labonte, that is. And 67 laps on the second run. Let's see what this third run's going to be. Already been out of the pits for about 17 laps. It took 17 laps roughly, maybe 16 by the time everything cycled through. The first stop of the race, everybody came within a 7-lap window, but 16 laps that time. So really starting to see how far some of these drivers can actually stretch on fuel, and some of them are able to stretch it over 75, close to 80 laps. It's pretty impressive. There's a product of the car just wanting to turn all over the place down the back straightaway. Straightaways in general, it doesn't matter whether it's the back or the front, or whether it's a tri-oval or a quad-oval. I don't like it. I wish my controller worked properly. Well, see, the sad part is that this new one kind of does. It's so twitchy. It doesn't take much to turn it, so it's so easy to overturn the car. Sound like a broken record repeating myself these last few races since we've got the new controller. Somebody mentioned in the comment section I might have to get a PlayStation 2 steering wheel. I looked them up. I don't know if I want to pay $100 for a PS2 steering wheel. Like, that's how much I got this one for my PS4. Why should a PS2 one cost just as much? I really think I can get used to this controller, but it's going to take a while. I'm just worried that we're going to start DNFing more. So we already did in the last race, and that was only the second points race with this controller. We struggled in the All-Star race too, so I wasn't even counting that. We were eliminated just because I couldn't keep the car straight, much like the Coke 600. Only I didn't crash out of that one. I just flat out got eliminated in the end of segment 2. Didn't even make the top 14 cutoff that they had. 9.3 second lead for Labonte over Smoke. Both the Joe Gibbs cars are running second and third on the racetrack as Bobby Labonte's in third. Dale Jr. has fallen back to fourth during the midst of this third tire stint of the day. Still caution-free at Dover. Only had one caution-free race this season. Again, that came 3 races ago at the California Speedway. I guess we went caution-free for the Bud Shootout and the Gatorade Duel as well, and the All-Star race. All 3 exhibition races we went caution-free. The only points race to go caution-free was 3 races ago at California. Bonnie got the win that day. It's really the only track he's won on an intermediate. He has yet to win on a 1.5 miles this season. We've ran on 4.5 miles up to this point. Another intermediate, but it's not a 1.5 miles. Not like California. It's still a mile shorter than that. Boy, Harvick's closing in. Him staying 16 laps out on the racetrack longer than Labonte's really showing, because he has just caught Labonte in a hurry and he wants to get back on the lead lap. And depending how this fight might go, obviously Labonte wants to keep him behind, but he's not going to battle too much with Kevin Harvick right now, and if Harvick gets alongside of him, they'll probably let him go. It's a good chance that he'll let him go. Oh, Labonte got loose off of 4. Car just snaps so easily at this analog stick, I swear. I really do miss my old controller when we didn't have to worry about that kind of drastic moves off the exterior corner. Or the straightaways. That's the sad part, is that the straightaways, in my opinion, are harder than the turns on half these tracks that we've raced at with this analog stick so far. Because it almost wants to turn on its own anyway, so I just gotta let the controller do its work in the corner, but then I have to, like, overcorrect it just to keep it straight on the straightaways. I do not like it whatsoever. Last stop coming at lap 133 after a 67 lap run. Next pit stop should be anywhere between lap 199 to 200, right around the halfway mark. So it's going to be really close on whether it's going to be a 5 or 6 stop race. Indeed, Michael. I know you mentioned that a little earlier. Robbie Gordon just blew an engine on the inside of the racetrack. Tough break for Robbie. It looks like his night's going to come to an end early. Bobby Labonte, meanwhile, has worked himself up to second, getting around Tony Stewart a couple laps ago. And the Labonte brothers are 1-2. We've seen that a lot this year, though they haven't finished 1-2 in a race. They've been running 1-2 a lot recently. California, they did it for a little bit. They did it for that Darlington race as well earlier in the year before Terry DNF'd. Bobby, unfortunately, couldn't bring home the win. At Texas, they were running both up towards the front. Neither one of them won that day. Contact with Fittipaldi and Terry Labonte once again there. 10-second lead for Terry Labonte. Kurt Busch is up into the top 5 now. No signs of Ward Burton currently. He's been staying out of the pits a little bit longer, though, so he might start to charge up by the end of the run back to the top 5 again. Can't blame him for that. He not only got a lap led, it's earlier in the race. We'll see how it goes from here. I think Jimmy Johnson was able to get around Kevin Harvick for position. Johnson might have tried to stay out a little bit longer as well to help perhaps gain track position on the longer run. And Labonte gained time by simply pitting a couple laps sooner, and that was even with the mistake with the rear tire changer trying to get the wheel and the lug nuts on the race car. Second lead now. Labonte must have slipped back that last lap drastically. I don't know if he might have made contact with the lap car or brushed the wall, but Junior was able to get to second. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. We're almost halfway home. Drastic block there by Brett Bodine. Bonnie a little loose down the straightaways. He had the intentions of trying to pass Brett Bodine there, but he just wasn't able to do it. Now he gets underneath him off of turn 4. Stayed a lot more straighter that time. Car definitely didn't stay straight that time. Tries to make sure Brett Bodine doesn't get back underneath him. Kevin Harvick working a whole heck of a lot closer again. Labonte blocking Harvick. Harvick really drove that car in deep into turns 3 and 4. To the inside of Terry Labonte. Labonte brushes the wall. Still staying in the wall. He can't get off of it. So Harvick, Marlin both going to get their laps back. Junior back to second. Heck of a battle for second place going on between Junior, Stewart, and Labonte. All three of them have just been swapping those spots through the lap traffic the last handful of laps. Boy, Harvick and Marlin have really pulled away from Terry Labonte. Skinner trying to make a pass on Kenny Walsh, and he did not care where Terry Labonte was. He was going to pinch him off to do it. Walsh couldn't stay in the gas on the corner exit. As heavy as we have seen lap traffic all day long. Just not cutting Terry Labonte any sort of leeway. Barely keeps it off Sprague on the exit of 4. Sprague crowds him a little bit into turn 1. Labonte finally clears him. Terry's been trying to get around Mike Skinner as well the last half a lap. Gets underneath him. Good drive on corner exit. Go back to the far chase cam for now. We're 20 laps away from the halfway mark here tonight. 8.4 second lead back to Junior. Junior's got almost a full second back to Tony Stewart in third now. I'm actually kind of glad this race is running caution free right now. I want this to get done as soon as possible because I got to work tomorrow. And I knew starting this thing at 8 o'clock tonight was not in my favor, but my sister's game ran a little longer than what I was expecting it to. And I knew that she had a game. I wasn't going to be able to start it at 6, 7 o'clock like I would have originally wanted to do. I was probably going to start it at 7 so I can get it done by 10, honestly. So really, every minute after 10 o'clock tonight, I'm going to be like, all right, I need to get this thing done as soon as possible so we can get myself in bed for the night. Luckily, I don't have to be in as early compared to my last job. And it's not as far of a drive, but still, I got to be in at 6. I have to be up by like 10 till 5. Bonnie almost got hung up on his teammate Joe Nemechek. Tell you what, if any driver that Labonte has made contact with the most this entire race has been his 3 teammates. That was the first time he made contact with Joe Nemechek. Granted, he only made contact once with all of his teammates, but pretty significant contact with him, to say the least, especially with Gordon and Johnson. Bonnie really slid the tires going off into 3 that time. At least there's no heavy damage on Labonte's car as well. Oh, drifted into the corner. Contact with Casey Mears right in the center of it. Boy, that wasn't pretty. It's a big slide as Labonte kind of overdrove the entrance and slid right up into Casey Mears. We stay green. 10 laps away from halfway now. Again, late in this run, not only the tires slide more, but the car just turns that much easier, and it's causing Labonte to overdrive the corners on top of the car itself, just getting loose. Another wiggle getting off into turn 3. Oh, Casey Mears bounces it off the wall off of turn 2 now. We are at Dover, and it is live indeed, Haiti. Ooh, Kyle Petty almost slid up into the one of Jeff Green there. I think they might have both checked up. assuming they were going to make contact. Never did. Labonte eases his way on by both of them with a 3-wide move. Yeah, now they're both really fading back. They definitely got off the gas after almost getting into one another. Bonnie's starting to struggle on these older tires a little bit more. Just a couple laps away. And we will be seeing pit stops for the 3rd time tonight. .4-second lead back to Dale Jr.
Number 38, all clear, buddies.
Elliott Sadler will go another lap down. Ken Schrader again. He's about to lose another lap down. I have no clue where my dogs are barking. I don't know if you guys can hear them at all. I don't know what their deal is. I let them out when I got home, so I don't know what they're barking at. Little one's probably harassing the big one again. He's been doing that a lot lately. I don't know why. Oh boy. It's not going to contact. Terry Labonte, Ken Schrader. No surprise, Schrader's been a tough pass all night long. Ooh, Labonte entered really high. Diving, cutting the center of the corner to get around Ken Schrader. Great crossover move. Labonte going to stay out one more lap. So the first run, Terry Labonte was able to go 66 laps on fuel. Second run, he was able to go 67. And he'll be able to go 68 laps on this run. Labonte will hit pit road this time by timed it perfect. Labonte trying to come to pit road. Almost sped coming into the pits. That was a close one. But he was able to go 68 laps. Yeah, Miles the Monster hasn't taken us out yet. Or anybody for that matter with being caution free. No mistakes on that third. So work his way right back out onto the racetrack, just past the halfway mark here tonight. Bonnie going to be a lap down early going now of this 4th tire stint. He made it just past the halfway mark on lap 201 before coming to pit road. So, mathematically speaking, he could make this race on 2 more pit stops. And he's been able to stretch it a lap further each run. 66 laps and 67, then 68. If he can just make it 67 laps on these next 2 runs, then he should, no problem, be able to make it to the end on fuel. Newman trying to pinch him off. I'm not sure if Newman's trying to come to pit road or not. No, it doesn't look like it. Bonnie wants to make sure he's not going to get wiped out by these lead lap or lap cars trying to make it into the pits. Bonnie using these fresh tires to his advantage versus the drivers on older tires who still have to come to pit road. Oh, Jack Sprague trying to come to pit road as he fights Terry Labonte. Trying to pit from the second lane as Labonte was already underneath him. Sprague's got to go an extra lap. I have to assume he's going to be pitting this time now. That doesn't even make sense. He's not even going to pit this time either. So Sprague tried to pit from the second lane on Labonte, and then instead of coming the next lap, he just stays out of the pits. Mind-boggling. Labonte barely clears McMurray, who was just coming off the pit lane himself. And getting up to speed now. Sprague still hasn't pit. That probably frustrates Labonte even more. Like, okay, he tried to pit from the second lane there, and he hasn't pit 3 laps after the fact now. Man, if he was that close on fuel, I don't know what the deal was with him trying to pit from the second lane to begin with was. Gordon with a late block on his teammate there, and they make a little bit of contact. Might have caused Labonte to drive in a little looser than what he wanted to be. Oh, they're 3 wide back there. Herbie Sadler coming off the pit lane. They're already side by side. Gordon just ran right in the back of his teammate. Probably accidentally, I'd have to assume. Oh! A little contact back there with Jeff Gordon and Stanton Barrett, I believe, as well. Chaos ensuing at the beginning of this fuel run. I don't even think we're anywhere close to everybody hitting the pit lane yet. At least 3 more drivers on the lead lap at least have to pit still. Bonnie kind of got caught on Mark Martin slightly as well there. Harvick's still on the racetrack. Leader just coming into the pits as we speak.
The leaders are about a second and a half ahead. All clear, buddy.
Labonte just cycled through as the leader that last time by. It's the 4th different time he's led it. Hey, boy, he got loose getting off into turn 3. Contact with the outside wall will keep McMurray at bay behind him. 13 people watching currently right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in on a Thursday night. Lost track of my days there for a second. Thursday night on the channel. Back to some NASCAR Thunder 04 action. Oh, boy! Huge walk up the track by Fittipaldi. He has done that a couple times already tonight. Thought he was going to pancake the wall going into turn 3. The 6-second lead for Terry Labonte back to Dale Jr. So Jr. has definitely closed that gap on Labonte. He was 10 seconds back at the end of the last run. There was no mistakes on pit road that time for Terry. I think that Jack Sprague incident kind of cost him quite a bit of time. Now Fittipaldi's been blocking him the last couple laps. Now a little contact with Ashton Lewis. Bonnie got tight again. Some slight contact with him. Kevin Harvick going to get back on the lead lap momentarily, and he's going to try to block Terry Labonte as well. Harvick's going to try to hold on to his lead lap positioning as long as he can right now. Labonte keeps hitting his marks. Just got a share draft with Kevin Harvick. It's hard to do on a mile racetrack like Dover, but Harvick wiggled a little bit too. Yeah, it wasn't working out very well. Didn't expect it to, but yeah, it didn't hurt to try at least. So Terry Labonte's just clinched the most laps led. That will score him 10 bonus points for the race here tonight at Dover. As he tries to find victory lane once again. One at Bristol, Talladega, Martinsville, then California and Richmond. Got a 5-win season so far for Terry Labonte. Looking for 6 here tonight. And again, not to mention he also won the first 2 exhibition races this year as well. A lot of pole awards this season for Terry Labonte also. It's been a pretty good season outside of the 5 DNFs. Where the inconsistency has been shown. But he's been a little better over these last half a dozen, if not just a little more races. And he's got a chance. If he wins tonight, that will be 6 wins in the last 8 races. Just absolutely incredible run for Labonte, but he has still yet to lead in the points all season. We're going to be 13 races in after this one. Almost halfway done with the season. Things are going to fly by here over the next few weeks as well with no more NASCAR Heat 5 full race live streams. Thunder 04 will be taking up a huge portion of that. Kiss off the wall off of turn 2. Slowing Terry Labonte up once again a little bit more. Next pit stop should be anywhere between lap 266 for Terry Labonte to 268. Or the trends continue. It'll be lap 269. He's gone a lap further each and every run. He wants to at least make it to 67, I think, is going to be the goal here for Terry. If he can at least make it that far. Again, he pitted at lap 201, so I guess he should make it to at least lap 267. At least. All it takes is one caution to change everything. Most of you watching, I'm sure, are NASCAR fans. You guys would know that that's the case. It's just auto racing in general. The amount of things that could happen with a caution, especially as you get later and later into these races. Fastest lap of the race still at 22.010. For Labonte, and that was very early in the race. That was on that first run when he had the clean air and there was no lap traffic around him and he had the lead. And he ran that lap time. We'll pick up into turn 1. Again, it's not a lack of concentration, it's a lack of the analog stick wanting to not be touchy. That's the sad part. It's not like this car doesn't have a lot of downforce either. It doesn't matter how much downforce I put into it. It just does the same thing. That's how you know it's the controller. And it's not the game, because we were fine with the game towards the end of season 1 there, and beginning of season 2, as far as like the handling went, I didn't really have a bad handling car up until I got this new controller. Exactly, at a full race, anything can happen as well. Said it best, Michael. We are about halfway through this fuel run now. .4 second lead. That lead has fluctuated. It seems like some runs Junior's faster and some runs Labonte's faster. I think there's a lot more lap traffic Labonte's having to deal with on this run too. Compared to Dale Jr., I'm sure that's playing a factor. I don't know why the dog's barking again. She was quiet there for a little bit. And she wasn't quiet anymore, so I'm not sure why that's the case. Just to show you how fast these guys are going on just a 1 mile racetrack. Obviously it helps with the high banking here at Dover, but look at this. Into turn 1, 171 miles an hour. I think he was 173 going into turn 3 the last lap. That's just insane for a 1 mile track. 174 that time. Bonnie's not going to gain a lot of points on the points leader, Dale Jr., tonight if Jr. continues to run in the top 5. He's led laps today because of pit strategy, so he's got 5 bonus points. Labonte's clinched 10. So as of right now, you're looking at Terry Labonte only being able to gain 10 points on Dale Jr., which would mean going into Pocono tomorrow night, Labonte's still going to be over 1 race worth of points behind Dale Jr. Not that much over 1 race worth. Barely over it, but still. For a guy that hasn't led the points all year, I think he wants to take that points lead for the first time. I think some of the pressure is going to start to ease from that point on.
Still there. Keep digging. The 11 cars. All over your back bumpers. They're on both sides. Take it easy on those tires.
Car Labonte was bottoming out going into turn 1. The way that car was sliding and clipping the apron. The corner entry. Another big slide. Oh man, he almost slid right in front. Well, he did slide in front of the 11, but he almost slid into his left front. That would not have been very good at all. Dale Jr. hasn't been going away. That's another thing, too. You just wonder if Jr.'s just that one close adjustment away from really being able to pick up even more pace on Terry Labonte. The fact that Labonte had as high of an 11.5 second lead, and it's been down to about 5.5, and it hasn't really been growing. In fact, it's been shrinking. Jr. continues to close the gap. We still have 2 more pit stops left in this race. Even if it does go green to the end, don't count Dale Jr. out of it. Could see a pretty good battle for the finish if that's the case. Fuel mileage probably not going to be an issue for anybody else. Might be an issue for Terry Labonte, but even then, again, if he could just make it to lap 267 and then lap 333, he'll be good on fuel to the end. He won't have to worry about that. Even Kurt Busch back in 5th place has been running a little bit faster times. He was over 13.5 seconds off the lead. Now it's down to about 12.5. Stewart back to 4th. Bobby Labonte in 3rd. Now it's back to a 6-second lead again.
Number 10, top out.
Bonnie just getting underneath Johnny Benson.
All clear base.
Oh boy. Bonnie started to crowd him a little bit on accident there as he started to push tight in the center of the corner again, but he kept it off of the 10 car.
Got one out.
Oh, well, he doesn't keep it off the 23 of Kenny Wallace.
You're clear.
Another slight bit of contact.
Number 23, top out.
Keeps it off the wall at least. In the second half of the race, yes, but we still have about 150 laps to go. Long ways to try and keep that card clean as Labonte has for most of the night. He hasn't had any sort of damage in the red all night long. But being a 1 mile fast racetrack like Dover, that's actually pretty good.
2 car, top out.
Now it's higher banked, it's a little easier to drive. That's still a really great job, well done for Terry Labonte. But again, the race is nowhere near over yet. We're working our way there.
The 32 car is still there. Make it easy.
500 champ Craven going to go lap down again.
You're clear.
His second lap down of the night. 6.2 second lead at the line between first and second. Some heavy lap traffic going on the back now. They were very tight, almost 3 wide off of turn 2.
Take a look at the fuel gauge. Got one out. Still there. Careful. All clear race. Right side. You're clear.
Well, we're at that point in the run where we're within those last 10 to 15 laps and the car really starts to drift on corner entry a ton. It starts to almost turn on its own going into the corner, causing Labonte to overdrive these corners on the inside of the track and clipping the apron a little more. Obviously, you don't want to clip the apron at all, really, but definitely a lot more than what he wants to if he did clip it. That's why games, welcome back. There's Ward Burton. Haven't seen a lot of him since the very beginning of the race. Those first 100 laps, he was in the 5th position there for the longest time. Not the case anymore. A 7-second lead for Labonte. Well, easier said than done, but as long as Terry Labonte doesn't make a major mistake, it's going to be tough for Junior to come back. It could be a pit road that makes, or a pit stop that could be the major mistake, though. Maybe not even for Labonte, but his crew. They made one mistake already today. Who's to say they won't make another one or two under these final couple pit stops? And again, still a tough pit road to navigate. Labonte's been progressively getting better coming to pit road. Still tough, and there's Schrader trying to block Terry Labonte again.
They're on both sides. Number 16, up out. The 16 car is still there. You're clear. Right rear's getting warm. Keep an eye out.
It's the first time we've seen a rear tire get that worn here in tonight's race. That might have caused that big wheel spin off of turn 4 you saw where the car just jerked immediately back to the left. Actually kind of helped with trying to get around Ken Schrader finally, but that's not exactly what Labonte had intended to try and get around him, or the way he wanted to get around him. Still a clean pass, though. White Hanson, welcome to the stream. BZ Fellow, welcome.
The 41 car is outside. Number 41 is going high. You're clear.
Couple more laps and we'll be seeing green flag pit stops for the 4th time here tonight. Still caution free at Dover. Got Burton trying to squeeze Terry Labonte. Made a little contact off of turn 2. Burton trying to stay on the lead lap. Terry Labonte will put him a lap down. And Burton couldn't get the speed on the corner exit. Herbie Sadler scrapes the wall a tiny bit off of turn 2. Checking up Kenny Wallace right behind him again. That's the second time we have seen... Sorry, no, that was Christian Fittipaldi that time. My bad. I was going to say, somebody hit the wall right in front of Kenny Wallace earlier in the race that caused him to check up. I think it was Johnny Benson, if I remember correctly. It was not Kenny Wallace that time. People watching. Thanks for everybody tuning in again here on a Thursday night. 16 people have hit that like button so far, so I greatly appreciate that as well. You guys have been awesome last handful of weeks at hitting that like button during these streams and the other videos on the channel. It's been helping a ton. We've seen that subscriber rate go up quite a bit over the last couple weeks. More contact with Jack Sprague there. That was definitely accidental. Another big slide into the corner. Sprague almost ran right in the back of Labonte when he did that. 269, and Terry Labonte will be pitting this time after another 68-lap fuel run. Second time in a row he will go 68 laps here. Slides the tires into turn 3. He'll be coming into the pit lane. Great job. Just running out right at the right time like he did on the last run. He went an extra couple laps just to make sure. Lap 270 as he's on pit road currently. No adjustments, 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel coming for Labonte. Slight bit of damage on the right side of the car. Made a little bit of contact with a couple drivers throughout the course of the night. They'll repair that as well. And hopefully no mistakes this time as well on pit road. There's about a 7.5 to 8 second lead for Labonte coming into the pit lane this time. Last time it was about 11.5 second lead. And Junior's slowly cutting that time off on Terry Labonte. We'll have to see how fast of a stop he'll have this time around. So Labonte works his way back onto the racing surface. As he gets up to speed. Been fortunate being the first car to come to pit road tonight and not get a caution. Hopefully that remains the case right now. There were a couple guys that followed Labonte to pit road that last time. Dropping him momentarily outside the top 10. Until everything cycles through at least. Scrubbing a little bit of speed off over driving turns 3 and 4 again. Still got at least 6 more drivers on the lead lap that have to pit. Race leader coming into the pit lane this time. That would be Tony Stewart, the 20. Oh, man, it sounds like a couple guys make contact on pit road. Hopefully it wasn't anything too major. We stay green somehow or another. I don't think I've ever seen a caution on pit road before. But you can definitely hear the crunch of somebody, at least 2 cars making contact, if not more, on pit road. Not sure who it was or how it started. I heard it again, too. That's the second time I've heard it. I don't know what's going on down there, but hopefully everything's alright. Once everything cycles through here, we're only 1 pit stop away from the finish. Can we get our second caution-free points race of the season? We're working to be that way. I was not expecting Dover to be a track to have a caution-free race. We could see it. Then again, at Richmond, it was kind of looking the same way, and that was a 400-lap race as well. So you never know. Remember, in that race, we didn't get our first caution until lap 348. That was the only caution of the day. It's a lot closer from first to second in this race than what we saw at Richmond that day, though. But in both cases, Labonte was the leader. There's going to be a lot of guys that are still on the lead lap that have a shot to win this thing. If we do get that yellow. It's what they're hoping for. Everybody else has to be thinking at least. Terry Labonte's roughly 6 seconds ahead of Dale Jr. right now. Still the top 2 have to pit, though, and I think Kevin Harvick is the race leader. He's been staying out the longest. Harvick and Sterling Marlin have stayed out the longest all night long. And currently, it's actually Harvick and Jeff Burton who have stayed out the longest on this run. So Marlin's already made his way to pit road. Wide maneuver. Need Jack Sprague and teammate Joe Nemechek. Again, outside of pit strategy, Labonte's led this whole race. Those are the only laps he hasn't led. Looking for another max points day if he can get the win. Clinch most laps led. About 50 laps ago or so, give or take. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles one final time in tonight's race. Once we get back to the start-finish line, we'll do that for about the next dozen laps. As Terry Labonte leads here at the Dover International Raceway. The Monster Mile. Shocked at how far Harvick can take this. And he's coming into the pits as we speak, so Harvick will surrender the race lead. It'll be a lead change at the start-finish line this time by lap 289. Tell you what, front row Joe's starting to run back down on his teammate to get one of his 2 laps back, perhaps. Hendrick Motorsports as a whole tonight hasn't had the speed, but Labonte has. Gordon showed potential early on, but boy, he really fell back over the course of that first run. And stagnated out right around 10th to 15th, but that's been about it for Gordon tonight. Getting a little loose, getting off into turn number 1 again. And Nemechek closes in on him. Wow, Joe Nemechek drove it in deep. You can tell he really badly wanted to get underneath Terry Labonte that last time, just never did. Ashton Lewis coming into the pit lane. I know he's multiple laps down, but boy, I'm surprised even Ashton Lewis was able to go as far as he did. Still a one-stop race, I'd have to assume, for everybody. And Dale Jr. is closing in on the race lead. It's down to 4.5 seconds. That's as close as we have seen it in a couple hundred laps. Contact now between the Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets of Joe Nemechek, Terry Labonte. They're 3 wide on corner exit now. And he's hooked on the 25. Couldn't get off of him as they roll into turn 1. Ward Burton going to get around as well. Gordon trying to get back on the lead lap. Mark Martin right behind Gordon. A little bit of a hairy situation. Now Junior's only 3 seconds off the lead. Labonte messes the corner up again. He's just going to let Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton get around him to get back on the lead lap. He doesn't want to really battle with them too much. And Dale Jr. is now 2.7 seconds off the lead. What a second half of the race Junior's having to be 11.5 seconds back under green flag conditions and just chipping away slowly but surely at Terry Labonte. And we still have about 100 laps to go. .5. And all those lap cars that got around Labonte's going to have to pass him again here before long. All 5 of them. Going to be 6 here in a couple laps as well. There's a slower lap car starting to get into the picture. Junior has not won yet this season. He's been up towards the front a couple times, but he hasn't won yet this year. He does have a win here in 2001 at Dover, in the fall race at the time. It's an important win in both NASCAR and American history after the accidents of 9/11. One of the bigger wins of Junior's career. Labonte's really struggling with that car. Took off loose again. I don't even think there's a single lap car that is in between the top 2 right now. There might be one.
Lap 300, keep it up.
2.1 seconds is the difference between first and second now. Bonnie, that's just one thing. Yes, he's led a lot of laps today, but he has not been able to put this race out of reach at all today. Even without there being a caution. 300 laps down, 100 laps to go tonight at Dover. It is coming down to the wire, and we have ran a very fast race pace because we are still just barely less than 2 hours into this race from the time the actual race itself started. Steve Park, former DEI teammate. Is that going to be an alliance that can help Junior here if Park can hold Labonte back? Under 100 to go. It's when the lap cars are a lot harder to pass. You're seeing it right now. Labonte trying to get underneath Park. 3 wide on corner exit. Joe Nemechek all the way on the outside. Oh, Nemechek got really loose. Barely kept it off the wall getting into turn 1. Contact with Labonte and Stanton Barrett. Labonte shuts the door on his teammate Nemechek. Oh, loose off of turn 4. Contact with David Green. More time lost for Labonte. This run has not gone anywhere according to plan for Terry. Down to 2.2. Talking about Junior closing the gap, but even Labonte's less than 5 seconds off the lead. Bobby Labonte, that is. Tony Stewart's been up there in the top 4 all day. I think any one of those 4 can really win it. Stewart's about 6 seconds off the lead. Labonte really loose into turn 1 that time. Really doesn't want any of these lap cars to get around him again. Every car is going to be so tough to pass to the end of the race from this point. Boogity, 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 indeed there, Cap. And this has been a struggle for Labonte. I don't know if the contact with these lap cars have worn the tires out. But these tires are racing like they're 50 laps old already. Well, they're getting pretty close to it now that I'm thinking about it. I guess the final pit stop is less than 30 laps away. That's got to be some of the factor. I think it's going to come down to who's going to have the fastest pit stop. Is it going to be Labonte's crew or is it going to be Junior's crew? I'd have to assume Labonte's going to come to the pits a couple laps before. Junior could pit as soon as that window opens for him, which could be close to about 70 laps into the run. That could be a difference maker as well. We'll just have to wait and see. Bobby Labonte's now only 3.5 seconds off the lead. He is charging. He's only a second behind Junior now. Don't count him out of it. Maybe the Labonte brothers can go 1-2 tonight. Maybe they can battle it out for each other to settle the score to see who will win here at Dover between the two of them. And Tony Stewart now 5 seconds off the lead. He was just 6 seconds back. I think it's going to be a 4-horse race to the finish if this does go green from start to finish here today. Labonte another long drift on the apron to the racetrack that time again in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4 rather. 90 to go. 2-second lead, almost flat that last time by. Labonte's under 3 seconds off the lead in the 18 car. There's quite a few lap cars now between even the top 2. I think there's about 3 or 4 cars. It wasn't like that before. And some of these lap cars that pitted a lot later in the run, like Harvick and others, are kind of propelling on this longer run even still. Another long drift. Well, if you couldn't tell, Labonte's driving it hard right now. He definitely is, but he's definitely trying not to step over that line as well. So he gets around Biffle clean. Gonna hopefully do that on Sprague. Sprague's a little upset with him, even though Jack Sprague was the reason for the contact heavily when he tried to pit from the second lane and pinched Labonte down earlier, but he's not mad enough to take a swing at him, luckily. I mean, a little loose off turn 4, drives it, stays in the gas underneath of Jack Sprague, and he'll put Sprague another lap down into turn 1. You can almost feel that anticipation for the end of the race building more and more. And again, a lot of it is we haven't had a caution yet. It's actually getting desperate for a break. especially when it's this close of a race,
Is coming right.
despite no cautions. Harvick trying to get around Labonte. He got through 1 and 2 a lot better the last lap. Now into 3 and 4. He's still all over him. Faking high, trying low. Labonte shuts the door. Terry doesn't want any more cars to get around him. 85 to go. Still 2.3 back to Junior. Back to 3 seconds again on Labonte. Tony Stewart continues to close the gap himself. He's only 4.1 seconds off the lead now. He was 6 seconds back just what, about 10 laps ago? He's gained about 2 seconds of time over the last 10 laps. 10 miles here at Dover. That's incredible. Harvick almost got to the outside of Labonte going into turn 3 as Harvick really drove it on deep. Lost a little bit of time in 1 and 2, but he got a good corner exit. We'll see how deep he drives it into turn 3 again. Not deep enough. Pull the same move of faking high and going low. That's not going to work when it's mainly a one-groove track. In the outside work at times. You don't want to have to make a pass up there, though. I'll tell you that much. Talked about it at the beginning of the race. How narrow the straightaways are here, especially on the corner exits. These wider middle of the corners, as far as the racing group from top to bottom goes, kind of makes it a little deceiving of how tight it actually is. Fast corner exits. Just overall fast track around the Monster Mile. Ashton Lewis, Christian Fittipaldi, at least they're going to stay high and give Terry Labonte plenty of room. Harvick got stuck behind both of them, though. Tony Stewart is closing the gap pretty quickly on his teammate Bobby Labonte for third. McMurray going to give him plenty of room, too. I think the ally, sense of it, definitely helped out with that pass, as well as Ashton Lewis and Fittipaldi earlier as well. Steve Park chopping off the 5. Thought Kenny Wallace was going to do the same there. I think he wanted to, but get the speed on corner exit. Oh, Park just ran down into the side of Labonte. Harvick almost got underneath Terry, and now he does. Oh, extra contact with Terry Labonte and Harvick. Labonte, the race leader, slides into the wall off of turn 4. It all started when Steve Park chopped the nose off the 5 on corner entry. It made contact with him initially. Back to 2 seconds again between first and second. Stewart only about maybe 3 car lengths behind Bobby Labonte. That's it. Again, Terry underneath the 23 of Wallace, who pinches him off into turn 3. No heavy damage on the 5 at least, as you see the upper right-hand corner of the screen now, the indicator of where the damage is located on the car. It's not heavy. Not very visible either. So at least Labonte's got that going for him. Less than 2 seconds off the lead for Junior. A little contact with some lap cars a little further up ahead. Labonte had a big slide into turn 1 to get around lap car Kenny Wallace once again. Almost slid into him. Turn 3 and 4. Waltrip's starting to catch up to the race leader as well. Maybe he can get back on the lead lap.
Number 30 is outside.
Now is not the time for the analog stick to be acting even twitchier again. We got some guys short pitting on the racetrack. Some of the leaders are short pitting. 1.3 seconds now between the top two. Waltrip still on the outside. Terry Labonte hasn't cleared him yet. Now he did. Once again, getting around Waltrip. Side-by-side lap traffic right in front of Terry Labonte. Nearly 3 wide on corner exit. Steve Park again trying to block Labonte off. Labonte gets slideways into turn number 1. Oh, contact. Big rear wheel skip there after the contact by Schrader as well. That was the tire smoke you guys saw. Definitely came out from the 49 car. Stewart less than 4 seconds off the lead. Ricky runs up to 5th all of a sudden, 9 seconds back. Some of it might be Kurt Busch. Short pitting perhaps. Contact. Labonte just got hooked on the 30th Park. .2 back now for Junior. It stops nearing in a couple laps. Labonte, slide job to get around Park through 1 and 2. Labonte's got some pretty heavy damage on the right front now, though, so he's got to be careful. It's in the red. His pit stop's coming. He knows it. He's got about 1.5 gallons of fuel. He actually was a couple tenths of a second faster than Junior that last lap. A slide draft on McMurray in the center of the corner. Takes the air off of his car. Clears him off of turn 2. Park trying to do the same going into 3 and 4. Caution free, yes. Entertaining, yes. What you like to see. A clean race like this, but still as close within those top 3 to 4 drivers as it is right now. And Labonte has really just been fading in the second half of this race. That damage has to be slowing him up a little bit as well, I'd have to assume. Get to repair it, though, under this stop. It hasn't been that heavy until the last 20 to 30 laps, so lap traffic has been paying him no sort of slack. Not cutting him any slack in this one. Less than 1 gallon of fuel left, so he'll be pitting in a couple laps. So get around Elliott Sadler now, 65 laps to go. So this shouldn't be a fuel mileage race. Everybody should be able to make it to the end on one more pit stop. Some drivers have already made that last stop as soon as the window opened a handful of laps ago. Labonte going to stay out at least one more. Junior hasn't pit yet. Labonte has been pitting a lap or 2 prior to Junior today. And Stewart, by the way, that last lap was able to get around Bobby Labonte for 3rd. And Terry Labonte will be coming to pit road this time. Oh, man, another big slide trying to get on the brakes into turns 3 and 4. Trying not to spin the car out. Doesn't speed either. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, no adjustments for Terry Labonte. Damage will be repaired, so the right front will not be heavily damaged anymore. Made a random wedge adjustment there on the car, and I'm not liking that. Guess if it tightens it up, it won't be too bad, hopefully. No guarantee of what it's going to do. Clean stop and a pretty quick one for the most part for Labonte and his crew. He comes off the pit lane. Oh no! Huge contact from behind as Ryan Newman ran right into the back of Terry Labonte as Labonte was trying to come up onto the racetrack. Heavy damage to the right rear now. It's in the red. That could be troublesome here for Terry Labonte with an entire run still to go. There's Junior. Boy, that costed Labonte a ton of time. He'll cycle ahead of Junior, but not by much. And how much is that damage going to slow him down, as well as even loosen the car up? Man, Newman, just a lack of awareness there of Labonte coming onto the racetrack. Labonte stayed low. All the way to the exit of 2, he was still on the inside, but there was nowhere to go as the apron kind of cuts off down the back straightaway. Wow. That has just got Labonte's car extremely loose now. It's all sorts of out of shape. 60 to go. And a battle for the eventual race lead is on between Labonte and Dale Jr. David Green's blocking. He might be coming to pit road. I'm not entirely sure. No, he's just blocking. Labonte finally gets around him. Labonte's got to go because Dale Jr. is right behind him. No sign of where exactly all these other guys that short pitted 10 to 15 laps even before Labonte pitted. And once Labonte pitted, Jr. came to pit road that next lap. We'll bump and run to the back of the 19 of Mayfield. Labonte saying, I gotta go. Labonte has not been passed for the lead on the racetrack all night long. Or Howard, welcome to the stream. Ray Howard, I should say, welcome. Battle for the eventual lead between Dale Jr. Terry Labonte going on right now. As we near about 50 to go. Heavy damage on the right rear of Labonte's car. Newman hit him as he was coming off the pit lane. It's slowing him up as well as the fact that it's loosened him up a ton. Kenson coming to pit road. Open traffic now ahead of Labonte. That might help. As far as trying to stay in front of Dale Jr. goes. There's Tony Stewart. Coming off the pit lane. We'll have to watch for him on the charge. He's got about 5 to 10 lap pressure tires in the 8 and the 5. They're both pitted only 1 lap apart from each other. Labonte didn't pit before Jr. I think Jr. would have had the lead. Labonte's car's loose now with the damage to the back of his car. Oh man! It just took off in the center of the corner there. Just wait until these guys get to the end of the race on these older tires. Labonte's really going to be struggling for grip. Well, he can't let Junior go at all here. Got to race him hard. Lap car on the inside. That's Bill Elliott. He got really loose on corner entrance. Junior let him go. Now he's going to try to cross him over. That was the best move for Junior. Get back to the inside as soon as he can. Let him go. Junior had to get out the gas a little bit more than what he wanted to because Elliott got loose on corner entry. Biffle giving the race leaders plenty of room to race to the inside. Not sure that everybody's going to do the same there. This is a battle. And it might be this way all the way to the finish. Junior entering a lot higher there into turns 1 and 2 that time. It might give him a little bit more speed down the back. I'm not entirely sure. Going into turn 3. Labonte can't make a mistake here and let Junior get alongside of him. Labonte again kind of beats Junior back to the gas though off of turn 4 that time. Junior's trying that higher line. It's just not working. He's got to stick to the bottom and he might have to use the bumper to get around Terry. $50 laps to go here today at Dover. This is what it's come down to in a caution-free race up to this point. Boy, I'll tell you what, if I end up missing my line and cost myself the race, I bet you it's going to be because of this analog stick. Because I'm overdriving corners every now and then today, and it's out of the random. And in this close of a race, this late in the race, Labonte can't afford to have that happen too many more times. We've seen him get loose down the straightaways and just clip the wall even a couple times a day. Knowing how much damage is on the right rear, Labonte really has to keep the right side of that car clean. He can go the final pretty much entire fuel run to the end with the right rear in the red. That would be incredible. And that's another thing. If Junior uses the bumper, That could end Labonte's race. We don't know how much more damage that right rear can take. He's got to be careful if he's going to block. Bill Elliott's really been holding up Dale Jr. right now. Harvick, Jeff Burton still have to hit the pits. They have not taken their final pit stops of the race yet. Here's Gordon just coming off the pit lane. Sure, he's going to be coming up on Labonte in a hurry. Junior right there on the outside of him for the moment. Labonte's still struggling with his race car.
Looks like some of the leaders are headed down pit road.
Jeff Burton into the pits, leaving only Kevin Harvick on the racetrack that has to pit on the lead lap.
The 19 car is inside.
Junior again starting to slowly close the gap since he moved back to the bottom and now just got around Jeff Gordon. Junior is coming. He didn't stick the bottom that well in 3 and 4. Junior gains a little bit of more time. Harvick still hasn't pitted. Almost 40 laps to go. Really loose on corner entry. Up the track goes Labonte. Dale Jr. to the inside. And Jr. looking for second place in the eventual lead. Stanton Barrett gets in the wall. Contact between the 8 and the 5. And in the wall! Heavy damage on Labonte's car. He's still in the race though. Heavy damage to the back of Terry Labonte's race car as he gets into the wall after contact with Junior battling for the eventual race lead. The rear bumper is dragging on the racetrack. Debris, cautions out for the first time tonight. First caution of the night for debris on Terry Labonte. Unbelievable. He could have very well DNF'd after that hit into the wall. Battling for the lead. He was stuck on the outside, just couldn't hold his car straight. Little rear bumper damage, and he's going to pit and repair that damage because it is not worth trying to run to the end, especially with a restart coming up for the first time today. So Labonte will pit. He'll give himself fresh tires. Well, no, I brought out the caution, so I'm not going to give myself fuel or tires, but we will repair the damage. That's only fair. That's what I usually do. Harvick in the pits right now. He's taking 4 fresh tires. That was perfect for Harvick, staying out as long as he could. Not only keeps him back on the lead lap, he'll have the freshest tires in the field on the restart. Still pretty heavy damage on Labonte's car. 8 drivers will be on the lead lap with a shot to win this race after our first caution of the night for debris with less than 40 to go. Green flag back in the air. Labonte spins the tires on the restart. That wasn't pretty. All the lap cars lining up on the inside line of the lead lap cars. This is the first restart of the day. Gonna have to watch Harvick trying to come through the field. Labonte, contact with Craven. Craven just kind of ran up into the side of him. Terry got a little loose off of 4 as well, though. Had to get out of the gas. Who will win at Dover? A race that Labonte has dominated for the most part, but not anymore. This guy's still clumped together. That double file restart. The lap cars on the outside of the lead. Sorry, the inside of the lead lap cars will contact with Jeff Gordon now. Oh, contact Gordon and Jeff Green as they were 3 wide. Labonte gets a little loose. Somebody was bottoming out a little further up ahead. Gordon trying to cross back over on Terry Labonte. Labonte a little bit of a block, but the car not handling properly. Not only blocked him, but he got loose. Oh, and now a little pinch. Nadeau runs into the side of him. Kevin LePage off the pace. He has blown an engine. He was already multiple laps down. Tough break for him, though. He'll be able to get to pit road this time. Nadu had to check up. He almost got in the wall. Gordon trying to block. Not even for position with his teammate. Dangerous contact between Nadu and Labonte again there. I said 8 cars were on the lead lap. I meant 10. We have 10 cars on the lead lap right now. A shot on this restart to try and win the race. Oh boy, I thought Waltrip was going to take it 3 wide. It's a good thing he didn't. That was very, very close for Labonte to get back down to the inside. Name's Owen. Oh, okay. Oh man, a little contact. Waltrip just squeaks on by underneath Gordon and Labonte. Another time in which the Hendrick cars got together. I mean, again, with the damage on Labonte's car, gotta be careful with any sort of contact the rest of this race. No, he wants to win, but the car's not handling properly, and he just has to make it to the end. If he can just make it to the finish, he should get a top 10 at least. Depending on who's leading this race, though, he might lose points. Especially if Junior's in the lead. Junior is the points leader. The inside, Labonte goes on Rusty Walsh, not for position. Got a little loose on the outside. It's going to allow Labonte to get underneath him off of turn 2 now. 30 laps to go here at Dover. This could very well come down to a crazy finish. Boy, Marlin got loose. Right behind Kurt Busch. Labonte behind both of them. Marlin's car's bottoming out even. Waltrip drove it in there really hard. It's right back underneath Terry Labonte again. Labonte trying to crowd him. Oh, Waltrip got up into him there into turn 3. Labonte did try to crowd him though, but that was a give in, and Waltrip slides back into him again off of turn 2, and Labonte barely holds it off the wall. Crossover by Terry Labonte back to the inside of Waltrip again. It's only 2.6 off the lead, but a lot of cars to pass, lap cars and lead lap cars to get to the race lead. And running out of time with only about 25 to go, damage has to be slowing Terry Labonte down. Wow, I don't even know how he got underneath Marlin without making contact, but he did. Sterling Marlin pinched him down. Now a little bump and run on Kurt Busch to get to his inside. Labonte's got to go with just 26 laps left. Oh, Kurt Busch just bounced it off the wall. Marlin's going to get around him. No, not quite. He got to the back bumper of him. Waltrip slides up the track again. 3 wide, up the middle. Off of 4. What a move up the middle to get around Newman for position as well. Oh, contact heavily. Waltrip gets into Newman into turn 1. And Labonte barely nudges the wall off of turn 2. Everybody's pushing it hard at the end. This will be the 4th straight points race in which we have seen no more than 1 caution today if they somehow make it to the end without another one. It's in the back of his teammate. Sorry, other way around. Labonte into the back of his teammate Johnson. Well, Junior's not leading this race. He's in 5th. There's Ward Burton. Losing another spot to Terry Labonte that time. Burton traces the wall off the exit of turn 4. Johnson going to get around him. I think Jimmy's a lap down. My bad on that, by the way, Owen. I was thinking you were Ray Howard. signing your name under your mom's account. And if you are Ray Howard,
Still beside you. Make it easy.
it makes me wonder why your profile name was Ray Howard when your name's Owen. But hey, regardless of the fact, sorry about that. I'll try to remember that for next time.
Leaders, 2.5 seconds.
Dale Jarrett got really loose. Getting into turn 1. He's a lap down as well. He should let these guys go.
Number 88 is still there.
And he does. He let Labonte go. He let Dale Jr. go. 20 laps left. Lap traffic at the rear of the field could become a factor by the end of the race. Who knows?
20 down.
Labonte trying to make a pass on Jr.
On your line. Still
Made significant contact under the last run. Labonte clears him cleanly that time. And Terry Labonte's back in the top 5 trying to charge after the leaders. Harvick's got the freshest tires in the field, and I'd have to assume he's one of the guys battling for the lead, if not in the lead. He's going to be tough to catch if the lap traffic does not fall in the hands of these other drivers.
seconds back now. 2 seconds.
He's trying to close in.
Right front's wearing down. Keep an eye on it.
Barely kept it off the wall. I got really loose into turn 3 again. You can see the damage. You're not sure how much more Labonte can take. So he's got to try to pass these guys clean. Unless it comes down to it at the end. Who knows? All over the back of Matt Kenseth. Big slide getting into the corner there by Terry Labonte. Kenseth shuts the door. Kenseth also trying to get around Bobby Labonte. They fan out. Kenseth not battling for position right now. Terry got really loose, barely keeps it off Kenseth on the entrance of turns 1 and 2, and barely clears him as well with a clean pass. Kenseth is the first driver 1 lap down. Side by side with the Labonte brothers. Bobby on the outside, Terry on the inside. Terry with a clean pass in 3 and 4 as Bobby lets his older brother go, saying, hey, I think you got a faster car, go get him. Overdrove the corner in turns 1 and 2. Can't be doing that. Every little bit of momentum and time matters this late in the race. Kenseth going to get in the way of Bobby Labonte now. Bobby's starting to fade on the run. Harvick's still in second place. The leads need to wonder who the race leader is right now. We're not going to be able to see that until we get to the top 3, if we get to the top 3. Tony Stewart's in 3rd right now, by the way. The Home Depot Chevrolet. Next full race live stream tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Pocono. For the Pocono 500. Here on NASCAR Thunder 2004. It is at least a 2-car, probably 3-car battle. I think Stewart's starting to close in on the top 2 as well. So is Labonte. It is a 4-car battle for the win. They're all 1.1 seconds within each other. Then Bobby Labonte's about 2.1 off the lead in 5th. But he doesn't seem to be as fast as these top 4. But if they get tangled up, you never know what could happen. Ooh, Labonte overdrives the exit of turn 2. 12 to go. 4 cars under a second off of each other, battling for a win in the Winston Cup Series. Stewart is really gaining a lot of ground on Harvick. Despite Harvick having the fresher tires, I think they're starting to wear out. Again, this is a 40-lap green flag run to the finish. If we don't get another caution. Labonte looks to the inside of Stewart. Stewart with the block. Low on fuel, but these guys are going to be good to go on fuel to the end. I can guarantee it. Stewart trying to block Labonte at the same time. He's trying to maybe make a move on Harvick. Lap traffic coming up soon. Labonte now to the inside of Stewart off of turn 4. 10 laps to go. Labonte drives it in hard into turn 1. Slides the tires. Clears Stewart with a clean pass. Boy, Tony's got a little damage to the front of his car as well. But both him and Labonte are wheeling their race cars, trying to give themselves a shot to win it. Ashton Lewis will be the first lap car in the way. Ricky Rudd leads this race. He hasn't led all day long until he took the lead on the restart. 9 to go. Harvick and Labonte both missed their marks. Big run to the inside goes Labonte for second. Rudd going to get around Ashton Lewis. Labonte to second, passing Harvick. Now underneath Lewis off of turn 4 of the lap car. Here we go. Battle for the lead. Rudd goes a little high, trying to crowd and block Labonte into 1 and 2, and he does it perfectly. Labonte overdrove the corner, trying to get to the inside of Rudd. Harvick now back to the inside of Terry Labonte for second. That's what Rudd wants to see, but Labonte throws the block on Harvick. 7 laps to go at Dover. Great run in 1 and 2, that time for Labonte. Rudd trying to block for his left to get his first win of the season. Look at how low down the back straightaway Labonte went. And that really messed him up going into turn 3. How's he going to get around Ricky Rudd? Another big run, another block by Rudd. What is it going to take for Labonte to get around him? Might have to use the lap car as a pick if he can do it. David Green is the next lap car. Labonte again to the inside. Now he gets to the inside of Rudd, but the lap car pulls to the bottom. Contact between Rudd and Labonte. Five to go as Rudd holds on to the lead. Harvick could be there for the taking. His nickname is the closer after all. An insane battle for the lead late at Dover. Rudd blocking all the way to the outside. Now to the inside goes Labonte. Slide job off of turn 4. Labonte takes the lead with 4 laps to go. What a pass. Harvick now to the inside of Rudd for second. Harvick does have the freshest tires. Now can he run down Labonte once again? 3 to go for Terry Labonte. He has timed it nearly perfect. Be interesting to see if any more lap cars get in the way before the finish of tonight's race. Oh, Labonte got loose. I think he's got to worry about his own race still. Can't let Harvick get underneath him. Again, Harvick's got the fresher tires. Labonte's got the clean air for now, but now the right rear's starting to wear out again. Labonte walks up the track a little bit more. Lap and a half to go. Caution comes out now. The race will be over. But I don't think we're going to get a caution. It is going to be a race to the finish. Labonte can't stick the inside that time. Harvick, I don't know if he gained enough ground or not. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Terry Labonte. Really loose into turns 1 and 2 again. Trying to hang on to his race car. Lap car of Kent Schrader might get in the way. He has been a kidney stone to try and pass here tonight. Harvick's got one more shot into 3 and 4. He looks to the inside. Labonte's on the outside. Lap car of Schrader's going to get in the way. Off of turn 4. A block by Labonte as he wins it at Dover. With pressure right behind him of Kevin Harvick, Labonte seals the deal to pick up his 6th win of the season. And a nail-biter tonight at Dover. What a race. Labonte into turn 1 and turn 3 on the last lap. Slid the tires so much. Harvick got underneath him in 3 and 4. And I thought the lap car of Schrader was going to be in his way. And Labonte kind of took it nearly 3 wide up the middle to try and get around Schrader and Harvick in the final corner to win the race. What a finish. The Polish victory lap. Labonte led most of the night. But that late caution, the lone caution of the race, nearly costed him. And it was because of one thing. It was him shedding his own debris from the race car. The contact into the outside wall after initial contact, battling for the eventual lead with Junior with about 40 laps to go. Rubbed a piece of debris off the race car. What a win.
There will be a lot of bonus points.
Max points day for Terry Labonte. 6th win of the year. 6 wins in the last 8 races for Terry. What a streak. He has yet to win on the 1.5 miles, but boy, these other racetracks are working out for him at least. Unbelievable. That was unbelievable. Nice big trophy added on for Terry Labonte here today. Yeah, well, we unlocked the Cheez-It car. We'll be running that Cheez-It paint scheme tomorrow night at Pocono, so tune in for that one, especially, again, should be a lot of fun. A 500-mile race, though, so tune in early, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for that one, for those of you that wondered. Labonte by far led the most laps. 292 of the 400 laps led for him tonight, but boy, he had to fight it out to the finish. Didn't take the 6th and final lead of the race until 3 laps to go, away from Ricky Rudd, who actually fell back to 4th at the finish. Fell 3 spots in the final 4 laps, 3.5 laps of the race, really. Labonte with the win. Terry Labonte, that is. Kevin Harvick was so close. Had the fresher tires at the end and almost got around Labonte on the last lap. Tony Stewart finished in 3rd, Ricky Rudd 4th, Bobby Labonte rounds out the top 5. Dale Jr. led 9 laps, getting a 6th place finish. He was the points leader coming in. I believe he will still be the points leader exiting, because second place in points, Matt Kenseth, did not finish inside the top 5. Ryan Newman finishes 7th, Sterling Marlin 8th, Ward Burton 9th, Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. Those last 3 drivers I named also led at least 1 lap to score 5 bonus points, and yeah, Kenseth second in points, finished 15th here tonight. Take a look at who all DNF'd in the race. Only had 1 caution. Again, it was for debris off of Terry Labonte's car while battling for 2nd with Dale Jr. with about 40 laps left in the race. That was the only caution. So 2 hours, 36 minutes total time. That is a fast 400-lap race at Dover, let me tell you. 1 caution proved that. Robbie Gordon, Mike Skinner, Kevin LePage, Kevin LePage, Mike Skinner, Robbie Gordon, the only 3 drivers to DNF. They all had engine failures in the race. And we saw Robbie Gordon's and Kevin LePage's. I did not know Mike Skinner also had an engine failure in the first half of the race. Yeah, that was an incredible finish there, Cap. Indeed. An absolute wild one. I wanted to put the race of the week as the championship race for the Cup Series. I don't know. The finish to this race was good. Really, the entire second half of this race was good. I thought the race from start to finish for the championship race on Heat 5 last night for the Cup Series was better from start to finish, so I still think that's the race of the week, but this had a far better finish. That was insane. Take a look at the upcoming schedule and the point standings here. So the next 4 races will look like this. We'll go to Pocono tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Saturday night, we'll be going to Michigan, also at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then at noon on Sunday afternoon, we'll go to Infineon Raceway, our first road course race of the year, now known as Sonoma. And then on Monday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be running at Daytona for the Pepsi 400. So those will be the next 4 races over the next 4 days on the channel for NASCAR Thunder 04. We actually do have a new points leader. So Junior went in with a narrow points lead. Stewart did outscore him with a 3rd place finish and led laps himself. So just like that, Tony Stewart goes from 3rd to 1st in the point standings. Kenseth drops from 2nd to 3rd, and Dale Jr. went from 1st to 2nd. So a 5-point lead for Stewart, 13 races into the season. Man, still pretty incredible how many drivers are within 1 race. Terry Labonte moves up 1 spot. He goes from 9th to 8th in points. The top 8 are all within 1 race worth of points from each other. So mathematically, Labonte in 8th place could take the points lead after Pocono tomorrow night. That's how close the point standings are. My goodness, what a season it has been up to this point. And that was just an incredible race at Dover. I don't know how you couldn't hit the like button, so please do so. Hit that like button down below. If you enjoyed the race, the commentary, the video in general, we do these full race live streams every day, so hit the subscribe button down below for more daily NASCAR content such as that, as well as other related content. We're getting very close to NASCAR season here. We are less than 25 days from the 500. We are less than 20 days away from cars being on the track in a competitive race for the Cup Series, that being the Busch Clash, on a Tuesday night before the 500. Again, we are only, if I do my math correctly, 19 days away from that. That'll be a lot of fun, obviously. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming that night when the time comes. I guess it depends on what time I get off work and what race we have in store for that night. So keep a close eye on that. But thanks for everybody tuning in. As always, again, like, share, and subscribe. It has been fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Hopefully you enjoyed the race, especially that finish. How could you not? And I will see you guys tomorrow.